ready to live, ready to live. Like a dove I fly away. Now's the time, today's the day. Now it begins, now it begins. Now it begins, now it begins. This is gonna be a good day. Rolling on like the thunder, with open eyes full of wonder. It's a good day. It's a good day to be alive. Spin fast, the wheels keep turning. Every night is a new morning. It's a good day. It's a good day to be alive. 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 Now it begins.
We've been hiding in the shadows. We've been biding our time. We've been running from the devil, just trying to make it out alive. We don't have to run, be afraid no more. When the thunder comes, we won't fear the storm. Can you hear the drums beating louder than before? This means war. Feel it raging inside. We don't run from the battle, we run straight to the fight. This means war. This means war. Feel it rising up within us, getting stronger now. No one left to avenge us, but we will never back down. We don't have to run, be afraid no more. When the thunder comes, we won't fear the storm. Can you hear the drums beating louder than before? This means war. Feel it raging inside. We don't run from the battle, we run straight to the fight. This means war. This means war. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Like stars from the sky. Oh, can you hear us calling? Oh, this is a battle cry. This means war. Feel it raging inside. We don't run from the battle, we run straight to the fight. This means war. I'm focused. I've been watching for the omens. I've been listening to everything you said. It's been running through my head, locked and loaded. I got the feeling that you know it. Yeah, I've only just begun. I won't stop until it's done, till you're broken. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the lighter. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. I've been waiting for this moment, the final battle of the chosen. See, I'm never gonna quit, got my legacy set in motion. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the lighter. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. Welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. 'Cause the bigger they are, the harder they fall. You build your fortress and I'll climb your walls. You got your armor, but I see your flaws. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the lighter. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. Bigger they are, harder they fall.
Oh, wow, that was kind of interesting timing on the song ending there. That was weird. It was like, and there was that awkward pause there right as it ended. I'm like, what's gonna happen? How you doing, Patrick?
I'm all right, man. What about you?
Living the dream. Living the dream. Back home.
Oh, I forgot to switch my headset.
Oh, I did too. Oops. All right, well, I had to monkey around with some things. Some stuff was broke actually during the countdown, so I had to fix all of it. Then I forgot about the headset. So, welcome everyone. Happy Saturday. Hope you're all doing great. Happy you are here with us. For those of you in the U.S., thank you for being here. It's a holiday weekend. Long weekend in the U.S. Monday is off.
Oh, man, I've
day.
been off for many days, man. I've been off for many days.
You've been off for most of your life. I don't know what you're talking about.
Started Thursday. Thursday.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Patrick.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's a milestone.
It is a milestone. So you turn 20. One more year, you can drink some beer.
20. Yeah, 20, right. 20. Times 2 plus 10.
Yeah.
It's a whole equation. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So many awesome folks in the chat this morning. I love it. All right. If you are new to the live stream or new to Guy in a Cube in general, put hashtag new in the chat. We always love seeing the new faces. Loving all the new folks. How do you say? Donald asks, how do you say guys in a cube in Italian? No idea. Is Marco here yet? I didn't see Marco.
That's what I was looking. I didn't see Marco.
That's a Marco question for sure.
Yeah.
Matthew, it's a Adam and a Patrick.
It's
Oh, that's funny. Oh, nice. Oh, Wyatt, look at that. 26 months. And then Stina in UK was here for 12 months. That's it. Wyatt, that's it. Wyatt's one of the OGs.
yeah.
Came in right in the beginning.
For sure.
So he's been here forever.
Sure.
So same with Burning Suit. I saw Burning Suits here, and it's nice to see Burning Suit again. So Tristan is new. Sakani is new. Penio is
BI.
new. Yeah, new BI is new. Or they retracted the new. I don't know. Maybe they don't feel new. I don't know. Samir is new. Nice. Welcome everyone. Great to have you here. Nathaniel is new. Saman is a newbie. Nice. Excellent. Oh, Otto's here too. Otto.
Hello,
doing,
Otto.
man?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sastanta's new. Sanju's new. Wow, look at all the news. The news are coming in now. Theja's new. Sunil's new. Wukash is new. Nice. Nebosha's new. Man, look at all that. Awesome. Love it.
I applaud you for pronouncing those names, man.
I try.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm sure I messed some of them up. Netum is new. Arun Reddy's new, new as well. Man, look at all those. And then Chris Wagner coming in with a $50. Happy birthday, Patrick.
Thank you, Chris.
Nice.
Thank you, Chris.
Very nice. Oh, awesome. Welcome, everyone. Glad you are here. Glad you are with us. Also, shout out to the members of GynaCube. You help us do what we do here and help support us here. So you see any of the folks with the green names or the GynaCube logo next to their name, they are members of GynaCube. Some have been here, like Wyatt, been here for a very long time. So right from the beginning. So very much appreciate that. If you want to learn more, you can check out the link on the screen or hit the join button down below to learn more. So no commitment required, just to thank you checking it out. And then members, hold your questions until Chatmaster C gives you the green light. That'll be at the halfway mark when we go into member only chat, where members and moderators can participate. Everyone can still watch the stream, but only members and moderators can participate in the chat. And then throughout the course of the live stream, super chats always take priority if you've got a burning question. Just remember to type in the question when you do it, so that we get it through and bump it up to the front. So, Jake, appreciate that. Membership's worth every penny. Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Matthew throwing out the rules of the live stream. It's like the number one rule of Fight Club. We don't talk about Fight Club, right?
We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it.
All right, questions. So Matthew's queuing it up. Chatmaster C's queuing it up also. Getting the rules down for the questions. So Q colon in front of the question. One time is all you need. It gets queued up by Chatmaster C. One time is all you need. If you spam the question, we have a 3 strikes rule here on GynaCube. You will get put into a timeout by one of our lovely moderators. Those are the folks with the blue names with the wrench next to their name. Except for Patrick. Patrick's not going to do it. So you got to fix your machine, Patrick. You got to fix your machine.
I got to reboot it. It's just got to be rebooted, and I'm not rebooting.
Not right now. So please don't spam the chat. We try to get to as many questions as we can during the stream. We never get to all of them. So apologies for that. Come back next time, which should be next week, and we'll try it again. And again and again and again. And we've been doing this for a while, so just keep coming back. All right. Are we ready? Are you ready, Patrick?
Yeah, I am 50 TK71. TK71, I am 50. 72. Whew.
Yes, the big 5-0. Big 5-0. Oh, boy.
Yeah, look, I'm too nice to time out anyone. White says I'm too nice to time out people.
Do you even know how to do it?
No,
I was gonna say, I don't even think you know how.
No, I do not. No, I do not.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the questions. New BI is up first. One of our new folks getting in first, getting in early. All right, new to Power BI. Welcome to Power BI. And I have added Bravo dates. So what he's referring to there is the whole Bravo tool that our friends over at SQL BI, Marco and Alberto, released.
Yeah.
That's the new Bravo tool. So where you can add your date calendar as part of that. It's very sweet. It's very slick. So the data is from a SharePoint list. New dates entered in SharePoint are not shown on the visual. They're blank. And I have a one-to-many relationship. Can you help? So Patrick and I were talking about this before we went live, and I had a couple thoughts. My first thought was, did you refresh the data? But then you followed up saying that you did refresh. The other thing I know with the dates when you do this is there by default, it is not going to look at every date column in your calendar. So I don't know if you have multiple date columns and maybe you picked the wrong date column when you use the Bravo tool. I'm not sure. The other thing is if you did do the option to choose all of the dates, then it may be that maybe the relationship's not on the right column, so you may need an inactive relationship and then use the use relationship function from a DAX perspective. So those are things that are just coming in the top of my mind. Thomas, the Marcus date table, so the Bravo tool, do you still need to go do that? I think, is that still?
I think it does it. But
did it.
But if you can go, you can view hidden. So if he wants to see what's really going on, there's a template in there that you can go look at and just look and see if it's using, what date it's using. And then maybe you need to modify it a little bit if it's not using calendar auto or something like that. Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is that the way the question is worded, it makes me think like the older dates work. It's just that the new ones aren't showing up. So that would mean, the table, it's set up fine. It just doesn't have the right thing. But I would check those relationships, validate what's actually in the date table. So, I mean, without looking at the model, I don't know that I can really answer that for sure. So hopefully that gives you some ideas, though. Good luck with that. Yeah, and he said, Newbie, I said the... sorry. Yeah. Thank you for that correction.
Get it corrected, buddy.
Thank you for that correction.
She told you. She
No,
told you.
That's fair. That's fair. I appreciate that. So the older dates work. So why aren't the new ones coming in? I'd have to look and see what we actually picked there. So it's interesting. Without looking at the model, I can't offer more than that.
But go look at the date template. Go look at the DAX. Go look at you can see it. You can see. You can.
Yes. The challenge there. So if you're new to Power BI and you're not sure what to even look at there, that's what Bravo is really for, right? Is it kind of takes that challenge out of it. So it's
it's Patrick again. It's Patrick again.
Yeah. So there's a. So new BI, I will say it depends. There's a lot of factors in there. Patrick, that was your cue. Yeah, it depends. That's right. So because there's so many things that could be going on there, we'd really have to look at it. Thomas. Yeah, there's like people are chiming in with all sorts of different potential problems. So it's Kevin, I don't think Bravo does. I mean, it's just a free tool that's out there. So, all right. We will move on. Ooh. All right. I saw our first timeout. Nice. Matthew on top of it. All right. Alex. What do we got, Alex? What are the possible status responses from a get scan status API call? I have a do until succeeded loop and want to add something like if failed exit step. And I know Matthew had responded to this before the stream started. And so, you may need to check for errors or maybe some other things going on. The documentation should... You got some noise in your background, Patrick. The API, actually, let me go look at the API. I don't know if it actually gives the status codes for that. Let's see here. Get scan, get stands. It was status. Yeah, get scans. I keep saying stan. So it just says 200's coming back on the response in the documentation. So I mean, yes, it'll come back with a 400 or 401 if there's authentication issues. Could come back with a 500 if there were some errors as part of it. So a bad response, something of that nature. One thing you could do also is, as you're looking at that Fiddler tool from Telerik, I always look at that tool to actually see like what was the response code that came back in the states that were there from a troubleshooting perspective. So you could look at that as well to see. So there are possibilities of other error messages. So and then you got to go figure out what the error is that came back. So. Data on the road. Good morning, Mr. Paul Turley on the wrong profile. Good to have you, though, Paul. Good to have you. So, all right, Alex. Hopefully that gives you some things to go look at. Yep. All right. Van Lessing. In 2 weeks, management decides if Power BI modeling and development goes to IT or business users. Okay. Please, 2 convincing arguments to decide pro business users and contra IT.
So,
okay.
Go and read the adoption framework. Go and read. I'm gonna say it. That's the first one is go and read the adoption framework. The second one is go read the adoption framework by Melissa and Matthew.
Yes.
You should definitely go read it. It's going to give you more than 2 responses, 2 questions, 2 points that you need to make, but you got to go read that.
Yes.
And if that doesn't work, so shameless
Adoption
plug,
roadmap.
adoption roadmap.
Yes.
Sorry, Melissa, you're right.
There you go. Matthew just
if that
dropped
doesn't work.
Yeah, Matthew dropped the link.
And then after that works, you got to go to Past Data Summit in Seattle and go hang out with Melissa and Matthew. Shameless plug, because these are my friends. You should go to their pre-con. It's been announced. It's going to be amazing. If you've never seen Matthew or Melissa present and you want to meet them in person, you have to go and see this. It's going to be remarkable. Sorry. Shameless plug. These are my friends. So,
and
go.
I love Dan's response as well, where I just moved, where he said both. And that was my initial response. I'm like, well, I mean, they're both there. They're both part of this conversation. There's places for both. It's not one or the other. It's let's go with it. So I mean, and look, the whole premise of Power BI is about self-service and the ability to enable business users to use data for the challenges that they have, and IT has a role to play when it comes to governance and management, especially when we talk about large enterprise organizations. The adoption roadmap. I had to think about that. I always want to say framework.
I do too.
The adoption roadmap definitely outlines an amazing strategy for tackling that and how to go about enabling adoption within inside of your organization. So it's definitely a key resource. Yeah. All right. Melissa's got a good way in there too. Yeah, it depends. It definitely depends. Yeah, Melissa mentioned who supports it. If business builds it, will they support it? If IT BI Center of Excellence needs to support, then maybe you want some base level of training required. Yeah, and I've seen that with other organizations too, where in order to get a pro license, you've got to do some sort of internal certification of some sort of training where you've got some buy-in to the product, and that's usually been very successful. So,
would you agree that there needs to be a balance? Right, there needs to be a balance. Right, IT can't have their tight reins on it so people can't do self-service, but it just can't be the wild wild west. I think that's what Matthew calls it when he presents there.
Yes.
It just can't be the wild wild west where everybody's deploying these data sets and all this stuff. There needs to be a balance, you know, and you have to strike that balance and work together on these things. I love it when Matthew says it's the wild wild west. You can't just have the wild wild west, right?
Well, and I've also
balance.
seen too, like when organizations first get started with Power BI, it's usually that grassroots kind of adoption from the business where IT's like, yeah, I don't care about this. It's this little thing that's just being used and I don't care about it. And then it grows and blossoms with inside of the organization and they're like, ooh, we got to get a handle on this. So that's traditionally how it's happened in the past. And but now I think Power BI is matured enough where organizations are going in and seriously looking at it from the beginning, which is great as well. Like coming in, having a plan to avoid that Wild West, but still enabling those scenarios is great. All right. Awesome question. Thank you for that. All right. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Benny. Oh, Benny. All right. I have a parameter in a Dataflow. How can I edit the parameter value in the service like I can edit a parameter in a dataset?
I don't think it's possible. I don't think you can.
Yeah, short answer is no. There's no API for
you
that,
can't.
right? So there's an API for
the
dataset parameter, but not for the Dataflow one.
And I looked it up in the documentation. It says in Power BI data flows, you can use parameters, but you can't edit them unless you edit the entire data flow.
Right.
So you got to go into the data flow to make that change. So it's not possible.
Ideas.powerbi.com.
Oh, we hadn't said that in a long time.
I know.
We hadn't said that in a long time. Yeah.
Yes. Alex is there too. He's like, hey, it was on the roadmap, but got pushed to a future semester. And so because that may not make sense to a lot of folks. So from a Power BI planning perspective, Power BI planning is done in 6 months. They call it a semester. So the current semester that we're in right now goes until the end of September, and then October 1st starts the next semester. But what Alex is saying is a future semester, somewhere out in the future. So he's not saying next semester, although maybe it will happen next semester. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But basically, it got pushed out of this semester, which goes till the end of September. So, yes. And Matthew dropping the link to the public roadmap, the release waves and plans, and I don't know. Alex will correct me on that name. So, yes. Chewy, I don't know. It depends. The answer to that question was a hard no. So, yeah. I don't know what that banging is in your background, Patrick. Someone's doing something. You don't look happy. All right. Going on to the next one. Evaluating queries developing in Power Query faster in data marts. Okay, evaluating queries developing in Power Query. Is it faster in data marts? Is query folding just as important for speed? So two parts of this. So I was wondering when data marts was going to come up. So for those that don't know, this week was the Microsoft Build Conference. There were a lot of announcements. Data marts was kind of the big announcement that happened. Definitely go check out our video that we dropped on Wednesday talking about data marts if you haven't seen it. So I'll answer the last part of this first. Query folding, when we talk about Power Query, is always important, regardless of where it's being used. So yes, always. Make sure that your Power Query is optimized. Make sure that folding is happening. That will always help with performance and usability. So the evaluating queries developing in Power Query, is that faster in data marts? I don't know. I don't know that. I mean, I haven't seen any metrics on it. I would think it would be about the same. I don't know that. I don't have anything that would indicate that it would be faster in data marts versus other areas. So yeah. I don't know if that helps you, but so one thing I would do is, so it's also going to depend, Patrick, on what you're trying to do and what your things are. So I would say test, and this is even with DAX, right? When you're doing things like test it, look at the numbers, compare it with what you're trying to do. Does that actually, does that actually show a difference for what you're trying to do? Those are all, those are all things to consider as you're doing it. So that will answer your question for you. Is when you try it in Data Marts, try it in Power BI Desktop, well, what happens? It depends. So, all right. Cool. All right. Let's see here. Paul's got 2 questions in here. I'm going to pick the first one. Scheduled dataset refresh in the Power BI service with multiple sources.
What does that mean?
I don't know what the question is there.
Yes, you can schedule with multiple sources. You just need to go.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you could do it.
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
Yes.
You can schedule it. You just need to go and set up all the credentials for all your sources. Yeah.
Yes.
You can do it. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Easy.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that, Paul. All right, Noah. I am trying to get a token for Power BI Cleaner Live Connection. I don't know what that is. It says I need a token. How can I get this token? Any thoughts? Trying to get a token for Power BI Cleaner. Is that like a third-party tool? I've never heard of it. Regardless, so I'm going to assume, I'm making assumptions here. I'm going to assume it's a third-party tool. And when it's saying a token, it wants your Azure AD token. Eric's saying is asking if that's Imka's tool. Matthew's also dropping Imka's blog. So yes. All right. So one easy way to get a token, I just log into the Power BI PowerShell script or PowerShell commandlets, and then you can go get the token. So let me drop. Let me go get.
But it's just a PBIX file.
Yeah.
Why do you? I don't understand this.
What do you mean?
Is she making some calls? Oh, she's calling some REST APIs. Okay, she's calling some REST APIs later. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I assumed it was
realize
doing.
that.
That's why it needs the token.
Yeah.
And so I dropped a link to the PowerShell command where you can actually go get the token. So you can log in and that'll give you the token, and then you can just drop that token in.
Yeah, but Alex is saying the same thing I'm thinking. Yeah, but Alex is. Why didn't it just use? I don't understand. Why
I don't know why the
token?
tool isn't prompting you to sign in to just get that token as part of it. I don't know. I haven't used the tool, so I'm not sure.
I'm gonna use this tool.
I would absolutely contact Imka. Yeah, Matthew, absolutely, 100%. She's on Twitter as well, so you can ping her on Twitter, and ask her. So, yeah, I've not used the tool myself, so I don't know. There are definitely ways to get the token, though, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Nice.
Okay.
And Kevin, yes, I do have a token. So I have a token for getting the token from an embedded perspective. I don't know if I did. Did I do that with PowerShell as well? I might have. Maybe I did. I don't remember.
I don't know. Man. I don't know.
Yes. Awesome. All right. We already did that one. Let's go with this. Let's see here. Can we have an option of personalize the visual concept given directly on the report for table or matrix visual for end user to select and delete the columns? Does personalized visual?
Oh,
I don't know if it works with table and matrix visuals.
But, and I don't want to give this away. Yes, you could do a paginated report, Stewie. You absolutely could do a paginated. You could parameterize it up. But think about this. Yes, somebody already said it. Sheila Hart beat me to it. Use field parameters. Use field parameters.
Yep.
There you go, Sheila Hart. Stay tuned for the video.
Yeah, Alex also, yeah. So it came out with the May 2022 Power BI desktop. So make sure you update to the latest and give that a whirl.
Use field parameters. I'm going to show you how to do it.
There you go. Bam. Something new.
Yep.
Shiny, hot off the press.
Yep.
Very nice. All right. Let's see here. Arun. Do we need an on-premises data gateway for Azure SQL database? Get it ready. There you go. There you go.
It depends.
Yes. So, by default, Power BI supports direct connection to Azure SQL database without a gateway.
Yep.
However, you probably don't have, or you shouldn't have, your Azure SQL database just exposed to the internet. That's probably not good from a security perspective. Most people stick it inside of a VNet and or have like some firewall rules around it where they're not just freely allowing things to come in there. And so if it's in that situation, then you need to have a gateway there to get to it. So because Power BI won't be able to hit it from a network perspective. So whereas the gateway will allow that. And also if you're using a VNet, then you can use also the VNet gateway as well. That's another option as opposed to the on-premises data gateway. So so it just depends if there's actual network connectivity directly to the Azure SQL database. Chances are there's not, and you probably shouldn't have that exposed that way. So in that case, yes, you have to have a gateway. And this is the same for other cloud services as well. If Power BI can't connect to it because you're blocking it through like a VNet on the Azure side or VPC on Google Cloud, or I don't know what it's called on Amazon. It's the same thing, right? If we can't get to it from a network path, then you got to have a gateway, and that gateway needs to have a network path to that. Yep. So,
yeah, but like Kevin said, you can set up these firewall rules to protect it also. So no matter. Yes. There's so many ways, so many things we can do.
Yes. Yep. That's why.
I got to say this. Mark, Sheila, that was great. You took the words right out of my mouth with the field parameter. Sorry, I'm going back to the field parameter. She just took the words. She took them right out of my mouth.
Oh my gosh. All right, we're bumping up close to the clock. We're getting close, so let's see if we can get a few more in here. All right. What is the best feature announced at Build 2022, and why is it Dataflows with benefits? Data marts. Harnessing Matthew's blog.
The Build conference. So I'm going to say this, and Adam's not going to like what I'm about to say. My favorite feature
He's not that was say data marts.
Announced right around that time, was the GA of AutoAgs. Oh boy. It's the GA of AutoAgs. AutoAgs with GA. The world was waiting for this, Adam. The world is waiting for this, man. Are you kidding me? The world is waiting for AutoAgs.
Yes.
They just got to read the documentation. They just need to read the documentation.
All right. For me, I mean, look, data marts is, I think data marts is interesting. It opens up a lot of other possibilities. Is it my favorite feature personally? I look at things different ways. I think it's a powerful feature. And I love that there's expansion of capabilities with inside of Power BI to enable other scenarios. But I tend to go towards other stuff that's not like the norm, just for me personally, right? It's and so I do like Jason commented on the PowerPoint integration. I do like that. There were a lot of cool features inside of desktop that dropped. Man, there's just so many. I think I saw someone comment that there were like 47 different like new things, and I'm like 47. I'm like I don't even know what they would all be. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Power Automate cool. DAX query action. That was cool. That was really
cool. So can I provide my opinion here?
No.
If
just ignores me.
I build a data model in Power BI, you consume my data model in Power BI. Why are you using DAX to take data out of my Power? Go to the source and get that data. Don't come
No, I saw someone, I forget who did it. Someone did a tweet and I don't remember who it was, and I feel bad. It was such a cool thing where they were using that to consistently validate if RLS was working.
There's other ways to test RLS.
Yeah, but in an automated fashion where it would trigger an alert. I love that.
Maybe
that was awesome.
my mind is just being small around this. Maybe I'm just being small-minded when it comes to this. Right?
Just a little bit.
I think the announcement that we're going to allow migrating from AS to, honestly, right, my favorite one, and people tweeted about it. I can't wait till it's out. Is when we're going to do that migration, when that tool is out. So that's the best one. Yes.
All right. So we are at we're halfway mark. So we're going into the member only section. So we're going to kick it over to where only members and moderators are allowed to participate in the chat. Everyone else is welcome to enjoy the stream and get all the learnings from the questions, but will not be able to participate in the chat directly. Super chats always take priority. So even if you're not a member, the super chat will, if you have a burning question you got to get in, super chat will cut the line. Just make sure you type in the question if you do it. So, all right, let's get over to the member only section. There you go. And then also just going to drop the link. If you do want to learn more about becoming a member, you can go check that out. All the rules still apply. So Q: in front of the question, get it queued up. Chatmaster C standing by. Please don't spam. Although typically we don't usually have that issue on the member only section because people are well conditioned into how to submit questions. All right, let's see here. One of the benefits of being a member at the visitor or producer tier is to pre-submit your question. We do have one question that is pre-submitted, so we are going to go. There's Alex. All right, we'll do the pre-submitted question, and then Alex will come back to yours. All right. Is there an advantage to using Dataflows to perform integration transformation on the data sources versus using Power BI Desktop and Power Query to connect and transform if the data source won't be used by anyone else? So if we're just doing this query and it's not being used by anyone else, like, should I use a Dataflow or should I not? And Patrick's got his dollar bill ready for it depends. And I can only imagine like Matthew and Alex like oh my gosh, I want to talk about this. So what are your thoughts, Patrick?
I don't know. It's so many things here, though. It's so many things. It's layers to this question, and so why?
Why?
That's the first thing I would start off with. Why not just go to the desktop? Why do I need data flows? Why introduce another level of complexity? Why not just create a data set? And I'm not disagreeing with data flows or data marts, anything like that. But if I can create a data set, publish the data set out that does everything I want, why do I need to introduce data flows? And then I need to think about data volumes. I need to think about performance and things like that. So there's why? Why am I doing this? Why don't I create a data set? And I know you're going to go a completely different way, but it's Patrick's data modeling brain that won't let him go any other way. Go ahead.
All right. No, I'm like, from my end, Chris Jones was harnessing my thought of that. It's like, look, it won't be used anywhere today, but what about tomorrow? Like, what about, like, is there a possibility that it could be reused, right? So maybe that's a thing where we want to look at data flows or something like that. I mean, in terms of like performance and things of that nature, I'm like maybe there's a difference there. I don't know. That part really depends. But it's, you could do it in desktop or Power Query, inside of Power BI Desktop today. And then if you want to refactor it down the road, if you find that you need to reuse it, then that's an option. You could always revisit it. Although I usually find that people don't revisit it. So, and it's harder to like re-engineer that in desktop to use the data flow later on. So yeah, there's Melissa coming in with some good thoughts too. If we had different people who maintain data flows versus one or more pieces in the desktop file, or if we need to repeat the same data prep logic across multiple PBIX,
Not disagreeing with Melissa on the second point, but if I adopt the strategy of where people are using shared data sets, then I'm not creating the logic across multiple PBIX files. I have a single PBIX. That's what I was saying at the beginning. So you create a single PBIX file with that logic in that PBIX file and you publish it out and you tell your people, here's common things that we're all using. Use it right there. Anyway.
Yeah, Alex. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We'll clean it up before it goes in the cloud. Yeah, that never happens.
We're not gonna clean it up. We're not gonna clean it up.
Yeah. Yeah. So Joe, you're gonna have to make it. This is a business decision on your end. You definitely have options. So I would think about, is there a possibility at all that it would ever be reused? Then you may want to go with a Dataflow.
You got to go with Dataflows or shared data sets. You got to, you future-proof it that way. You just assume that somebody else, because it's possible. So you either go with a Dataflow or shared data sets. You got to do something like that.
Yeah. And then Matthew dropped a good blog. Definitely go read that as well. All right. Let's go to Alex. I can't, the way that those things work on YouTube, it doesn't come up on my thing. So, all right,
you Patrick, can skip it because I have no idea what he's talking about.
No. Patrick, why does Power BI Desktop default to web.browser contents, which requires an on-premises data gateway, as opposed to the far superior web.contents?
I don't know. We were talking about this earlier. I know. Right?
I remember the conversation. I know. Alex is doing what Alex does.
Yeah, I have no idea, Mr. Powers. That's okay, Mr. Powers. You got me. I have no idea. Thank you for the birthday wish. I appreciate that gift right there. Thank you.
Nice.
Can you please tell us why, Alex? Can you please tell us why?
I don't think he knows why. It's just like, why don't we just change it over to web.contents?
I don't know.
Cool. All right. Jumping into the queue. Thomas. Is migrating an existing working data set into the new data mart approach advantageous? Aren't the loaded files in the data mart stored in the same Azure data center as ones currently in a Power BI Premium per user data set? So there's layers to this. So data mart, when we think about that, it's a managed SQL instance, right? That is a different approach than a Power BI data set. An imported Power BI data set is an analysis services tabular model, which is different from a SQL database, right? So they're stored differently, they're structured differently. So there are definitely differences there. Migrating an existing working data set, whenever we talk about that, one of my things there are also like, why are you even considering that? Is there a problem? Like, just migrating because it's the new shiny, I don't generally like that. There needs to be a business reason to go and do that. What are the advantages of doing that from a business perspective? And if you have valid reasons for doing that, then awesome. But just to say, hey, I want to do it because data marts is new and I want to move stuff over there, I wouldn't, if it's working and scaling properly. Yeah. And like, why would you do that? I don't know. Yeah.
If you're just getting started, on a new project, and you want to kick the tires on data marts, I say yes. Watch our video. We kind of go through everything there, spin it up, give it a try. You get this SQL behind the scenes. You don't have to do anything to get this SQL database. I said that in the video. I was like, wait, I don't have to do anything. It's just a SQL database. So kick the tires on it. You just get it right out of the gate. Nice. And then you have a lot of flexibility, from that perspective. So that's what I would do. I wouldn't migrate just to migrate. Like,
yeah, don't do it. Don't go after the new shiny. And this is the thing when we talk about Dataflows, data marts, Power BI data sets, Azure SQL databases, Azure Synapse Analytics. These are all tools in your tool belt, right? And there are reasons why you would use one versus the other, and there's different scenarios. Will dropped the blog that talked about the different Dataflow scenarios, or data marts. Was it Dataflow or data marts? I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, data marts. Anyway. There's different scenarios why you would use one or the other. So you need to evaluate that in the context of your business, right? So does it make sense for what you're doing and why? So.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Cool. Also, I forgot to do a shout out. So Jarrell and Gabrielle, thank you for becoming members. Very much appreciated. All right. Let's see here. It's a good question, Thomas. Good question. Heidi.
Yeah.
Always a
has
pleasure to
tough
have
questions.
Heidi. Yeah, but I always appreciate when Heidi's here just because of how late it is for her.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any
Her questions
plans?
are always so hard, though. Sorry, her
they're good
questions are always
questions.
so hard.
So, are there any plans to have an API to get premium per user list instead of trolling activity logs? So, I would say there is a way you can go do that, but you have to do it from the Office 365 or Azure AD side of the house because the license assignment's done there. So there's no Power BI API that will give you the licensing context for the user, but you can get that on the Azure AD or the Office 365 side, right? Because you can actually tell, like, so you could actually filter down and say, just get me the users that have this license type, and you can go look up that license type. There's a GUID associated with it, and pare that down and get a list. So that's
Okay. Well, maybe this one wasn't so hard, Heidi. Maybe this one wasn't so hard.
No, I mean it's just where you go. So. And she said she read Benny's blog. I'm assuming Benny's blog talked about the same thing. Hopefully. So, trial. Heidi said, oh. So the trials aren't exposed. Yes. So, because the trial itself isn't actually a license object. And so, and we don't actually, so Power BI doesn't have an API to say, go get a listing of all the people that have the trials. Within, because that's a service thing that's actually managed on a backend like database. It's not an actual license type, so that would be nice if there was an API to go get that. So yeah, the trials are not. That's not easy to get. So it does not. So the Azure AD and the Office 365 stuff that get you the license assignment, it's not an actual license assignment, so it has no context into that because it's managed on the Power BI service. So. Yeah. Yep, Benny. Yep. Cool. That was good context to have. Sorry. Activity logs is going to be the only way to get that. Or the audit logs. So. All right. Michael. Is there a chance that you do this kind of live session for Power BI on Azure Synapse as some kind of special? And I'm assuming that second part is a birthday message for Patrick. I can't read that.
Okay, thank you.
So I think the question is, can you do like a Q&A for Synapse instead of just Power BI? Maybe. Stay tuned.
Maybe.
Think about it.
Yeah.
We'll think about it.
Yep.
I like the suggestion.
Yep.
All right. Benny's got a question. Can we get another themed live stream special on culture governance admin featuring Melissa and or Matthew? I would say I would love that. I understand Matthew's schedule, right? I'd love to have both of them, and I think we should tie this around to maybe after PASS Data Summit. I think that would be good. So after the pre-con is done, maybe do a follow-up live stream with both of them. I like that idea. That also gets past Matthew's scheduling challenge right now. So, yes.
Is Kim Manis in the chat there? They keep referring to her in the chat. Hello, Kim.
I've never seen Kim on the live stream.
Yeah.
There's yes. I know what Matthew's talking about there. Okay. Tom's.
No, not nervous.
Now Patrick's nervous.
No. Patrick's never nervous, man.
Is Kim in the chat? Maybe I need it. No.
I'm gonna say
Kim is good people. We like Kim. All right, Tom. So with Roach's Maxim in mind, hey Alex, please drop the blog link for that so people can have context. I kind of messed it up in the Data Marts video, but I recovered. If all your data is in Azure SQL Server, Azure SQL Database, and you can do whatever modeling you want, is there a use case for Data Marts as it relates to Power BI? I'm going to say it's not really an it depends. That's not the use case that data marts was intended for. So the idea of data marts, so go watch our video on it, right? This is meant for the business user, the people that don't have access. They're not the DBAs. They don't even know how to wire that stuff up. That's what data marts is targeting, right? The self-service user, bridging that gap, right? So I can't be blocked maybe if I'm blocked by IT, I can get unblocked easily myself inside of Power BI. So if you have data if you have Azure SQL database stood up and you have data there or in Synapse or whatever, then, utilize that from a business perspective. But this also kind of entails that your business users know about that. You have processes in place for them to utilize that. So those are questions that need to be answered on that front. But in the context of your question, no, I wouldn't use a data mart. I'd leave it in Azure SQL database because it's already there. But those are two different things, right? So I think that's part of the challenge with data marts is people understanding where does it fit in. And looking for those opportunities or scenarios where it makes the most sense, and goes back to our earlier point about don't just go chase the new shiny, right? Understand where it's a powerful tool to be used and use it in that context. Don't just use it to use it. It has a place, and it's a powerful tool, and so it should be used in that context. Anyway, what do you think, Patrick?
No, you're right. You're right. It's not, it depends. It is not, it depends at all. It's not, it depends at all.
Yeah. And Kevin, you're absolutely right. And I mentioned that in the video too. And yes, you can get data from different sources, and it may be that the business user, yes, I know that there's some data sitting in a database out there. It doesn't have everything I need. It doesn't allow me to do everything that I want. And so then I can use data marts. I'll pull a little bit from that. I'll pull a little bit maybe from some Excel files, and get that curated into a single data source that I can use for answering my business problem. So that's
essentially you've built your own data mart.
Yeah.
You've built your own data mart. There you go.
All right. Cool. So Thomas, a lot of data mart questions. I expected this. What about Bravo and the Power BI data mart? Do they overlap? They're different. So Bravo is about enriching and looking at the data set. So it's not going to work against data marts directly. There is a data set that does get created as part of the data mart operation, but Bravo is not going to be able to necessarily go against that. So it's more meant for Power BI desktop in that sense. So that's where I would use that tool. Again, understand the tools that you have and where you're going to use it. So that's where I would go. And that data set is kind of managed from a data mart perspective. So I don't think they overlap. I just think it's different scenarios again. So Thomas had an interesting comment of data mart is a post data warehouse tool. No, it's not. If you actually have a data warehouse, then use the data warehouse. But again, those are different scenarios. That's not what it is.
It is not post. It's pre. It's before. It's something you're doing, and then IT.
It's a different scenario. You're talking a full-on data warehouse. I look at that as a fully managed like IT DBA type solution. Data marts are geared towards the business user and the folks that don't want to or are blocked by IT and can't get that type of data available. So that's where data marts comes in.
Okay. So there's a comment. There's a comment by Fernando, and we'll just let that comment sit there. And
I'm not even going to address that. No, I mean that's an opinion. That's I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Next question in the queue. I think there's some other data marts questions and. All right. On reporting services, is there any way, or report server, Power BI report server, or reporting services? Is there any way to check the RLS? I've checked them on desktop, but I want to do a final check in the report server. So report server itself doesn't have that view as capability that the Power BI service has inside of the report server portal. That does not exist. And also you can't connect to the data set with like an XMLA endpoint once it's published to the report server. Although technically you could, but it's kind of advanced. So I mean, the way I would test it is, sign in with the user and validate on that front, but it's more complicated. So
yeah,
the actual service,
that's not an easy one.
The actual service functionality of of viewing as user, that doesn't exist in Power BI report server.
Yeah, sure doesn't.
So, cool. All right, Rishi, how you doing, man? How you doing? How do permissions for RLS work with data marts? Oh, you mentioned that, Patrick, in the video. Does having edit access on the workspace mean that RLS doesn't apply to you like with data sets? That's an interesting question. So
we haven't tested it. Frankly,
we haven't tried that. We need to.
Let's be honest. Yeah, we haven't tried it recently.
So what I will say, because there's kind of layers on the data mart side. You've got that curated data set layer, and then you've also got the RLS pieces from the actual SQL underlying managed SQL database perspective. I would imagine the SQL pieces would still apply, but the dataset piece would not apply.
I don't think it will apply because it's just going to override. It's treated like any other Power BI data set, so it's not going to work.
On the dataset level, yes. On the dataset level.
On the SQL level.
But on the SQL level,
it's going to work.
It should still apply.
Right.
So
yeah, that's completely disconnected from the workspace.
I'm going to say it depends.
Why? But why?
Because it's the layer. It depends on the layer.
Okay, fair enough. Depends on where you're connected. If you're connected directly to the SQL, it should apply. If you're going to the data set,
well, the data set. So the interesting thing though is the data set's going to be in direct query mode, and so the SQL piece should still apply, which makes that interesting. I want to try that out.
I'm not sure. I got to test it, but I'll go with the it depends.
Yeah,
I'll go with the it depends. I'll go with the it depends. Yeah, I have to try that. Yeah. Let's try that out.
So. Well, so Jason said he thinks Charles Webb demoed that in mechanics. I'm sure he demoed the RLS, but that aspect of it, I doubt he got into that level of detail. I didn't watch the mechanics video, so I don't know.
I didn't watch it either.
But I'm sure he just said, hey, RLS is here and it works. Yes, and we did that in our video as well, but we didn't get into that scenario of the access level on the workspace. What applies and what doesn't? Does it work? I think the SQL side of it will still kick in. So because that makes sense, because there's a specific reason as to why the data set doesn't, because any layer above viewer is treated as an owner of the database, and that's why RLS isn't kicking in from an analysis services side of it. But on the SQL side, I think it'll still work, which is cool and nice. All right, Jarrell. Let's see here. I am using Power BI to connect to an Outlook folder that has emails with an Excel document as an attachment. A survey my company is collecting from hundreds of clients. All right, there's a second part on this. I'm wondering what's the most efficient way of querying that data. I need info about the email received, blah, 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 but I also need info on the surveys. Oh, I mean, if your goal, so I'm just going to think out loud on this for a second. Like, what's your goal of what you're trying to accomplish? Like, why do you need the data from both? Because I was thinking if you need the survey information, then I get that. Why do we also need the email information? Power Automate.
Matthew's somebody already gave him a Power Automate solution.
I was going to say, like, Power Automate comes immediately to my head of doing something with Power Automate.
Yeah.
Yes, Alex. Yeah. Cool. Oh, and Jason supplied something too. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's why the minute I saw that, I was just like, oh, Power Automate, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Doing, man, there's a lot of member questions today. Wow. All right.
You got 4 minutes.
I know, William. Data modeling question. All right, so that means this Patrick is going to want to jump in. Multiple dimension tables to avoid many-to-many relationships, or multiple grouping groups, or a way to dynamic change a grouping based on variables in different columns.
It's kind of vague.
Yeah.
Multiple dimension tables to avoid many-to-many relationships. I don't know how does multiple dimensions go with many-to-many? I don't know. It seems like we got a bigger modeling problem. Yes. If you're just doing multiple dimensions, because I would think if I'm flattening, I have fewer dimensions to minimize the groupings on the groups. And then if you want to do some dynamic stuff, use the new fields feature. Yep. The new field parameters. So I'm not sure what this means.
Well, but so do the field parameters affect, like if I'm doing variables in DAX, is it going to affect, it should affect that, right?
Or a way to dynamic change a grouping.
I guess
a grouping is the slice.
Context. Yeah, it's going to affect
I'm just assuming the grouping is the slice, right?
Yeah, we need more info on that. That's a little bit deeper.
Yes, that's what Stewie just said. I like Stewie. We just need a little more information on that.
Just a little bit more information. Yeah, because I don't understand like breaking up the dimension tables, multiple dimensions. How does that avoid the many-to-many?
I don't know. What's the relationship there, right? Yeah. Why is dimensions and many-to-many? It sounds like maybe there's some bad data. I don't know.
Yep. Sorry, William.
Oh, maybe he has to break them up because the more you put them together, it introduces duplicates. And that's why there's many-to-manys, and that's why he's breaking it down. Or William. So that's why he's...
From a dimension perspective, though, why would I have items... Like, if I had a duplicate item, wouldn't they have the same ID? Like, why would I have the duplicate to begin with?
Oh, you're right. No, I'm not... yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right. That's what we should have, but there's something going on here.
Chris said,
I got it.
Fernando.
Chris, I don't know what I got though. I don't know what I got.
Yeah, well, he's just saying you made the. Yeah. I just don't understand the multiple dimensions to many-to-many. That's what we need more info on. Fernando, I'm only highlighting this question because you invoked Bob Ward's name. Has the data marts feature? Does it have Bob Ward's blessing? I mean, I don't know. I don't know that even matters. But I love Bob Ward. He's a great friend. Mentor of mine. So, but yeah, it's a SQL database. So, Chris Jones. Any prospect of getting an execute DAX function enabling meta programming? I will say that Patrick and I have no say in that. Ideas.powerbi.com. It sounds interesting. I have no idea.
Is Will still here? Is Will Thompson still here? Maybe Will can pass that on to a few people. Will pass that on. Will.
I love Alex's comment. We're gonna get all these SQL folks to start writing Power Query M in no time. Yeah.
No. Stay tuned for my video next week. I'm going backwards, Alex. I'm going back to SQL, my friend. I'm going back to SQL.
All right. Let's get one more. Gabriel. When data marts feature will be fully implemented at some point in the future. I mean, it's in public preview. So whenever it goes general availability is when they will decide that. I have no idea. Stay tuned. Stay tuned, my friend. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we are at time. Man. Time goes by so fast, Patrick. So fast.
Too fast. I lost track of how many dollars we...
Kevin, what was the total?
I think
Kevin, what was the total? What do we got? Kevin's tracking it. Will said he wasn't paying attention. Sorry. It's all right, Will. Kevin, what do we got? What's the number?
$6.
Wow, that's what Chewy's asking that. That's a question mark. All right, Kevin said 6.
Kevin. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Our official tracker. Nice. All right. Patrick, any closing words of wisdom?
Have a great day. All
right. For those in the U.S., enjoy the long weekend. For everyone else, or just for everyone in general, if you didn't check out all the announcements over at Build, check out the Power BI blog. Go back and watch the recordings from Build. Go learn about all the great new stuff. And then yeah, we're looking forward to next week, and just have a great week, and we'll see you next weekend. All right.
Next weekend.
See you, everyone.
Oh.